call the meeting to order. This is the Properties Committee, our February meeting. We do have a quorum. Nancy Hunt is ill, so she has an excused absence. First item is our approval of the January 5th minutes. Do we have any corrections or changes, additions? If not, we'll accept them as presented. And we'll move on to our update on facilities and capital projects, starting with Carl.
Good morning, Properties Committee, and thank you. I'd like to just start off first by introducing one of our new supervisors. Sabrina Olivato is our new supervisor for the Beardsley and Palm Ridge Recreation Centers. And we have also selected Don Daughtry to be promoted to supervisor for the R.H. Johnson and Kuntz facilities. So just thank you, Sabrina, for coming today. Our capital projects update for February. R.H. Johnson Arts and Crafts Village flat roof restoration, that project is completed. We might just see the vendor beginning to remove all the safety railing and other items that they have off of the roof, but that project is done. We also completed mini golf lighting conversion, 1623, and the mini golf looks extraordinary. So very contained lighting system, just as shown in their photometric survey that they gave us, and again, that comes at a 40% energy savings now that we are LED fixtures. The Friends of the Library book storage container, this is a club-funded project that was requested by Friends of the Library, general manager approved. This project is in progress. Our general contractor has placed the footings for a shipping container, and this is adjacent to the other book shed that the Friends of the Libraries use up in the environmental services maintenance area. So I expect that delivery of that container next week, and we'll crane it into place. The Sports Pavilion storage area rolling gate has been awarded and is in fabrication progress. So in the next few weeks, I hope to see that installed and painted. And then the environmental services maintenance yard entry gate, that project has also been awarded and is in fabrication progress, and hope to see that at about the same time as the Sports Pavilion gate. And then finally, the Grandview Golf Course pump station is having a metal fabricated roof constructed, and it's in progress. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Carl. Are there any questions for Carl? If not, Russ?
Good morning, everyone. Okay, an update on the Kuntz pool. The vendor is still waiting on the sleeves. This is for the backstroke flags. They are due this Friday to come in, so keep our fingers crossed and hopefully they get them, and then we'll follow with scheduling to have them installed. The Deer Valley Pro Shop, we had a moisture test done. We did have some moisture present. However, with proper seal and glue, we'll be able to proceed with new flooring. Carl already has that lined up and scheduled with current closers. At Palm Ridge, we added 3 additional light poles outside in the back area of Summit Building to cover the back patio. It was in a dark area after we had upgraded the lights, so we bought 3 new light heads and used existing poles from other removals. We replaced HVAC unit at the Kuntz Softball Clubhouse. We did this in-house as the bid came in at $12,000, so we did it for half. Saved $6,800 by doing it ourselves. That was probably the largest savings to date on us doing an HVAC unit. We replaced an ice machine at the Kuntz Women's Boomers Club. And the dog park, large dog park in the back, we installed a French drain along the back side of the patio by Hillcrest. And this was to prevent the excess water from running down on the patio, from them filling their bowls. There's a drinking fountain up there. There's just a lot of water that was spilling down on the patio. And in one morning, it was so cold that it actually iced over. So we eliminated that from happening. That concludes my report.
Any questions for Russ? All right. Our policy review. Okay, we don't start out with FAO 6 because we did that one in October of 2022. That one refers to allocation of space. Starting with FAO 7, association approval advertising. Does anybody have any changes for this one or corrections? All right, we'll accept it as written. FA 8, guest credit policy. Are there any updates or changes? I think this one was revised last year. Karen, is that true? Was this updated last year? I think it was. Yeah. All right. So, not, we'll accept it as is. FA 9 has to do with alcohol restrictions on association property. Reviewing updates to state law, I didn't see any changes that needed to be made. Does anybody have anything? If not, we'll accept it as is. FA 10, association approves single event sponsorship. I believe Jack's Charter Clubs Committee has a subcommittee that's looking at this. So I don't anticipate any changes from us. Anybody have anything? Okay. And so we're going to accept all the remainder of the FA policies as is. On FAO 2, instead of having it pulled out and designated under the R and Ps, if you look at the bottom of FAO 2, it's been moved onto the front page of the governing board website page and put under the quick links. So it makes it more visible and if anybody's looking for it.
Roberta, can I just add to that? Board Docs also allows a linking.
Pardon?
Board Docs also allows links. So what I'm going to do is add to that after
Right.
the redlining
Right.
or via the Board Docs
So we
link
have
below.
to vote on that, correct?
Yes.
All right. All those accepting the change, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Okay. And then I thought 4.04, Carl, was, we discussed it at the workshop. Yeah, I'm going to go back to that, but on 4.4, didn't we, that's still under discussion as part of the budget process?
Yes, so I was tasked to lead a subcommittee for the Sports Pavilion Committee, and we've had our first meeting, rollout discussion, created an agenda to talk about things, and the committee is doing their homework. So we'll be meeting back next Friday for our next subcommittee meeting. And our hopes, Karen can correct me, but I believe we would like to make the March Sports Pavilion Committee as our time frame to present our findings.
Okay. All right, now going to 4.03. Russ, you want to talk about parking lot security cameras?
So you guys have been tasked with trying to put together what direction we think we should go. So I reached out to about 4 companies that do these portable mobile units, just to get an idea of how much they cost. As we are just getting going, we had to start somewhere. I will also be looking into fixed systems of some sort. That is a lot more on-site walking with vendors. It's going to take a lot longer to put those prices together. So I wanted to have something today to talk about. So these are towable units. They're not they don't hold people, but they it's the same company that makes the ones that hold the security guards up inside. They use them around Christmas time, special events when you have a lot of cars, a lot of crowds. They use them for that as well. I asked for a price for a small unit. They have, up into 6 figures, $100 and some thousand units. They're solar powered, so they don't require anything. They have their own internet, so I wouldn't have to worry about going through IT. Not really sure of what they give you quality-wise. This was just a idea to get how much these units cost. So for one unit, with not a whole lot of features, it was almost $39,000. And again, I don't know what the video looks like, don't know how much it would cover. Typically, video cameras that are in plate sight are more of a deterrent than anything, because I believe we just had another one of our employee got hit again, twice in less than a handful of months in broad daylight, not more than 50 feet from the building. So they're gutsy, which tells me cameras aren't going to phase them either. If you see Ring camera footage, they'll walk up to your front door with a hoodie on because they know what a camera can and cannot see. So this is, we need to do a lot of investigation to figure out how to put the best foot forward. So that's what you're tasked with.
Yeah, I found that, are we looking for security cameras which are designed to deter crime, or surveillance cameras which are used for monitoring?
So security so this is something you all have to discuss. Security cameras typically go through a service that hires people to watch the video. So that's typically done in buildings, not too often on outdoor parking lots. That's usually taped. So it doesn't prevent the event. However, after the event, you go look at your footage and you try to ID the perpetrators. But these are, I would recommend everybody kind of go out and just dabble like I did, see what's out there. It's your money. We need to figure out what our best step forward should be. And that is going to take some time and a lot of effort, a lot of bids, and I'll do all that part. I just need guidance in which way we all think we need to go.
Well, I know at the Lowe's parking lot in Surprise, they have a unit, and it's got Wi-Fi. And if the committee members want to go down to Lowe's, you can see one there. And it monitors the parking lot. And I know the city of Peoria uses the one, like the tower one that's on the cover, at Christmas time, they put it over in the Target parking lot, and it surveys pretty far out.
Yeah, Peoria has several of them,
Right.
yeah.
So they are used in the area. Those are the only two I know where that are locally.
Well, I'm gonna go as far as trying to see if we can get a demo unit out here. We can place it out there just to see what kind of quality we get, see what we can see. Once that happens, I'll of course hopefully have something I can show, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Russ?
I do. So Russ, I'm wondering, so the purpose of these cameras, is it for safety, like being attacked in the parking lot, or is it more for watching theft?
So it would never be for your bodily safety,
Right.
because again, cameras don't prevent anything. And this has always, so cameras have been a long-term issue. They come, every time somebody gets something stolen, we need to put up cameras to stop it. And that's not the answer,
No.
at least in my mind. If you guys think differently, guide me and I'll get it done. But definitely not safety. And cameras are mistaken as such, where they think somebody is watching, and that is not the case. So
Yes.
that is a negative to think about. And we'd have to have signage to let people know that these are not monitored, so it just gets tricky, because, and maybe that's an attorney type of thing. I know when Mike Whiting was here, he had cameras in parking garages, and they had to have signs on them to let people know that these are not live watched things. So if somebody attacks you, nobody's coming to, you need to call 911.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
No, to me, that's important.
Yes,
That distinction is very
absolutely.
important
Yes.
because it's whether or not we want to invest in it, right?
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I'm sorry if I'm going to speak out, but I tend to agree with you. They're a false sense of security for people. I think we as citizens need to be more diligent in helping each other out, but these cameras are just, you go to it afterwards, and like you said, they know how to steal. They know how to cover themselves up.
Right.
So even though you've got the footage, you still can't identify them. It's just my thought.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I always come across as I'm anti-camera, and I'm not. What I am is factual. I've dealt with cameras at pro shops. We've had several break-ins at Grandview. We've added cameras. We've upgraded cameras because the first time they broke in, we couldn't tell who they were. So we spent more money on better cameras, and yep, we still saw them break in, still couldn't identify who they were, and they still got away with our stuff. So you need to know that. I'm not saying it's not going to help. It's just not going to make the problem go away.
Well, the board had a presentation from a representative from the sheriff's office, and he talked about, no, you can't see their faces, they wear hoodies, they cover that up. But he did bring up that with the cameras, they can see pattern, and they have captured some of these people. That one gentleman they got because he had a tattoo on his hand, and that tattoo was in the database from the prisons. So they were able to get him. But it's mainly just as one tool to try and deter some of this, taking of the catalytic converters, and also golf carts, but more and more people are putting their own locks and safety things on their golf carts, so that's helping to prevent some of that. But they come out here in daylight when everybody's parked all day and steal the items from the cars. So, and then, of course, we had up at Palm Ridge and here, they broke windows and stole ladies' purses. So there's also that factor we have to think of. But I think the community would like us to look into having the cameras and see if they're going to be effective for our purposes. Like I said, they're not going to be for security. And, but it might help us to cut down on some of the crime depending on the kind of units that we can afford. That has a lot to do with it. I noticed this was a Cadillac system at 24,000. That
Actually, it's not. And it's only one, so I only got one bid out of four.
Right.
A second company responded. They insisted on coming out. And I told them at this stage, I wasn't ready to start walking property with people so they can sell me their product. I said, if you can't give me your numbers, I respect that. And I'll be back in touch with you when we get to that step of the process. I truly believe that getting a price to be able to make a decision is the right step at this point, because you have all your facts. It won't prevent it, but as that sheriff deputy said, if you have nothing, you're going to get nothing. So how does that weigh out? And you really can't weigh that out until you know how much it's going to cost you. So I'm going to use R.H. Johnson as a template because it's the biggest. I may focus on just the front parking lot just to give us an idea, because Johnson is almost 2 facilities worth of, if you think of the parking lot and its size, the front and the back. So we get an idea of how much that cost, and then we can take that and transfer it to the other facilities.
have we had a lot of crime in the back part of Johnson, or is it all mostly in the front?
Catalytic converters, well, we had the one at ARC, so they like ARC. I don't know why. Golf carts stolen both sides of the parking lot, both at admin and sports pavilion. That has gone away. Like you said, I see a lot of wheel chocks now on golf carts. I think they look at the front because it's busier, is about the best thing I can tell you. You know, it does get a little congested over at the sports pavilion, but not as much in a large group as it does in the front of R.H. Johnson. So that aids to their cover. And however they're doing it, they got a real smooth operation because nobody ever sees them. And I would love to catch them.
Well, as our next step, what do you suggest? We have a subcommittee?
I don't think we need a subcommittee. I'm going to
Okay.
be doing most of your legwork. I'll give you the information, and then you guys can determine of what to report back after that.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to get a portable unit out here for some sample so we can see what it provides us. That's going to be your cheapest route only because you can buy one unit and move it around. I don't know if that's going to help our situation, but at least it gives us options. I'll also get figures on a fixed system of some kind. It'll have to be wireless because we're not going to dig up brand new parking lots. We have trees now that we didn't have before blocking views. So that puts the cameras actually out in the parking lot themselves up on the light poles. And so you still have to get them wired. So I'd be looking at a wireless system of some kind, probably cloud-based. So again, it doesn't affect our network because video, of course, drags it down quite a bit. And we'll go from there.
Okay.
Is there any chance Peoria might bring one of their units out and let us see how it works?
I don't know anybody that high up in Peoria that I think would loan us one. I think we'd have a better bet of getting one of these companies if they want to sell us a unit. I think they'd be more than willing, I would assume. Again, all I did was reach out and asked them for I picked a unit that was their baseline. I loaded it with cameras and everything we would need to make it functional. And this is what we're looking at. And it's, again, only 1 out of 4 that I reached out to. So I'll take it to the next level. I'll meet with that other gentleman that refused to give me numbers, and I'll meet with him out in the parking lot, and he can, and he may be the guy I asked for a sample unit, and we can put it out there for, even for a couple hours. All we need is some sample video to see what does this thing see and what are we going to get out of it? And then we can go from there.
All right, so we'll wait to hear from you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Russ.
Roberta, is that at the next meeting? What's the expected timeline?
That's going to be, yeah, that's going to be vendor driven. So I will stay in contact with you all via email. Karen, I'll make sure you're in there as well. And then based on the information I'm getting back and the quickness of it, we can decide how we want to, we can give little updates in the meantime if we don't have anything major to report, if that makes sense.
Russ, what's the area coverage of one of these units?
Well, that's what we're going to find out. I mean, it'll see as far as it'll see, but the further out it gets, the less you're going to see, if that makes any sense. So a lot of our fixed cameras that we have inside are 10 plus years old, and they've gotten so much better. Every year that goes by, they come out with a smaller, bigger, better camera. It's more clear, HDMI out. They can see all the imperfections in your skin. Is that needed inside? Not really. So you want to go high quality outside, because the more you see, the better. The tattoos that you spoke of. To see a blotch on a guy's arm is not going to identify him. So when you can break that down, and they can actually get a hold of your video, and they have programs that can enhance. So your video may not be that great a quality, but they can enhance that to see what they want to see. So the better quality video you're giving them, the better chance you have of getting some form of identification.
Any more questions for Russ? All right, thank you, Russ.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to the Art Club CR13 storage container request. Tom, you want to talk about this?
Sure. We brought this before our board, and the board brought it before the membership, last membership. We voted to have a storage construction not to exceed a certain dollar amount. Then the feeling was that what we were looking at would be something totally different than the rest of the building. And Carl gave us some information to make the storage container look more like what we currently have at a higher cost. So we will need to go back to the membership to see about the additional cost. Carl's got a pretty good presentation and video not video, but photo PDF, I don't know if it's behind me, that we can show at the actual meeting. What we had before, I don't think they really fully understood to what extent it was going to be. So that's where we are at right now. We've got an approval to do it. We just don't have the dollar amount.
So, as Tom mentioned, the Auto Restoration Club approached Russ and I. The original conversation was for a storage area in the landscaping that is approximately 45 feet by 8 feet, and you can see in the photo number 2. Russ, if you could slide up. At the lower section, you see the landscape area between the sidewalk and the building. Again, Automotive Restoration Club asked for that to be enclosed. The original discussion was for iron picket fence with the Trex boards to fill it in, kind of like you might have on the picture above it with the wood in between the slats. A few weeks after providing them the price for that project, it was approximately $14,375. The club contacted me and said, what would be the price difference to make that same project in the masonry wall to match the one that exists? Again, the existing one is the one that you see in the upper picture, and I gave them that price. I'm waiting on for one more bid, so it could get a little cheaper. Otherwise, the base bid right now is $20,345 to do the same footprint in masonry block, 2 gates as the club requested, 2 6-foot openings, and you see that in the light level floor plan there. So the areas in green where they would like their storage compound, same matching height as the other, finished in stucco, painted to match the building. And all I'm waiting on is the Properties Committee approval that you're okay that we do this. Russ and I are perfectly fine providing it, and the club is paying for it. And right now, like I said, approximately $20,345 is what Tom has to get approved as a not to exceed amount. Any questions?
Do we have any questions for Carl? Or Tom? Okay. Tom, you want to go over what's going to be stored there?
Sorry, we've maxed out our storage inside the building. We have certain items like a small trailer that we put our metal to be recycled that could be out there. We also have a glass, flat glass shelving, I guess is what it is, or a rack that can be put out there. It'd be items that can be in the heat and the sun and be stored because the floor will be concrete. Everything we have, we try to have it on wheels so it can be moved around. So this would allow us to move stuff in and out if needed. I believe those are 6-foot gate openings.
Yeah, it was based on the size that the club
Right.
asked me, so 2 6-foot finished openings.
And I think the width of the trailer would allow it. I mean, it's a very small trailer, probably.
It was based on that discussion from
Yes.
Craig Landers, the manager of the Arc Building.
All right.
Do we need to make a motion to accept this?
Yes,
that what our
if you
purpose-
want to.
Yeah, I make a motion, we accept the drawing and the $20,375.
345 club
345.
funded.
Yeah, all paid for by the club.
All right, we have to make a recommendation to the governing board. I'll go through since, do we have a second for Marshall's motion?
I second it.
Okay, it's been made and seconded. All right, moving
I'll
on.
recuse myself from any voting on this since it's my project.
All right. Okay. Maria?
Yes.
Okay. Tom's recused. Yes. Jim?
Yes.
Sherry? Okay, we have consensus to move this forward to the governing board, pending, when will the club make its recommendation on the funding?
On the balance, we'll take it before them on the 21st. So
Okay.
would you there's a workshop tomorrow.
All right,
Would you be presenting it at the workshop? Then we would have the information for the meeting at the end of the month.
Carl has,
I would say it wouldn't make a difference if the club isn't funding it and they don't get their membership approval. It's a no-go project, so let's just move forward with Karen's schedule on the governing board, that you've approved it and that they give approval, and if the club funds, gives me the documentation, I move forward.
okay. Karen, is it on tomorrow's agenda?
No, it's probably going to go to the regular meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have any comments from the committee members? Marshall?
No.
Marie? Tom? Jim? Okay. Do we have any audience comments? All righty. Barring none, then I will adjourn the meeting.